Hey everybody, welcome back to Fourth and Short. My name's Carter, and today we're going to be going over the games in week 16 of the NFL season. So on Thursday Night Football, you had the Saints taking on the Rams, and the Rams got the dub. They moved to the 6th seed in the NFC. Just wanted to recap that. Obviously, that game had already happened, but moving on to the games here on Saturday, we have the Steelers taking on the Bengals in the first time window. The Bengals are still a really interesting team. Joe Burrow obviously is hurt, and I honestly thought that their season was kind of over when that happened, but they are still well and alive in the playoff race. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win this one. The Steelers defense could make things tough on Jake Browning and that offense, but overall, I'm going to give the Bengals the nod. So next up, you have a kind of one-sided game in my eyes between the Chargers and the Bills. The Chargers are just not a good football team this year, really underachieving. Justin Herbert's hurt. He's out for the year. And they just, even with him, were not a good football team. Taking on a Bills team who has really come on as of late. They definitely did not look very strong towards the beginning of the season, but they really picked it up, sitting at 8-6. And I think they're a really interesting team in this AFC. I think the AFC is weaker than everybody thought. So I'm going to pick the Bills here. In a not necessarily too close of a game. I think the Bills are going to kind of have their way with this Chargers team. So on Christmas Eve, you have the Commanders taking on the Jets. Neither of these teams are good teams. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing. He has not been cleared to play, nor do I think he would play even if he was cleared to play.
Thank you. Come again.
I'm going to go with the Jets on this one. It's really just a coin flip of two bad teams. Sam Howell could have a really tough day against this really stingy Jets defense. This defense is really good with guys like Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, but I'm going to go with the Jets on this one. So next up, you have an interesting game between the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. The Lions are getting back up into that conversation of top-tier teams in the NFL, whereas the Vikings just dropped one to the Bengals last Saturday, and it's really just an interesting game with the division rivalry, especially seeing as these teams play each other twice in the next 3 weeks. I'm going to go with the Lions to hand the Vikings the L here. I just don't really trust the Vikings quarterback room here with Nick Mullins starting. So I'm going to roll with the Lions. Next up, you have an interesting game between the Houston Texans and the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, they've won a game with 4 starting quarterbacks this year. They're now on Joe Flacco. Yes, he's still in the league.
Hello there.
Taking on a Texans team without CJ Stroud. He is in concussion protocol still. I'm going to pick the Browns in this one. Their defense is really good, and I think they're going to be able to do whatever they want against Case Keenum and this Texans offense. Next up, you have my Green Bay Packers taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Packers are struggling again.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Dropping 2 straight. They lost to the Giants and then lost to the Buccaneers, both games that they should have won. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, I guess. But taking on a Panthers team that found their second win of the season against the Falcons last week. I'm going to go with the Packers. The Panthers are definitely a really bad football team. The Packers tend to play down to their opponents or play up to their opponents with this games like the Chiefs and Lions games, but I'm going to go with the Packers here. This is a must-win game for the Pack. If the Packers drop this game, then you can consider them eliminated from playoff contention. So next up, you have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks in this game are going to look to get Geno Smith back, I believe, here. Taking on the Titans team with Will Levis and Derrick Henry and a pretty good defense. I'm going to go actually with the Titans in an upset here. I don't think that the Seahawks defense is as good as the Titans defense. I think the Titans defense, with especially guys like Jeffrey Simmons on that defensive line, could give Geno Smith some trouble if he ends up playing. So I'm going to go with the Titans. Next up, you have a game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are actually in the playoff picture right now. Very much alive here with Gardner Minshew, taking on the Falcons, who just lost to the worst team in the NFL, possibly in the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to go with the Colts here. Taylor Heineke could do some things for that Falcons offense. I really like Taylor Heineke as a player.
Oh, thanks, man.
But I'm going to go with the Colts. Next up, you have a hotly contested game, in my opinion, between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers coming off a big win against the Green Bay Packers last week, and the Jaguars are getting Trevor Lawrence here. He's been injured on and off for the past few weeks, so it's good to see him coming back. I'm going to, again, go with the upset here. I'm going to pick the Buccaneers over the Jaguars. The passing attack for the Buccaneers definitely looked really good against that Packers defense. Obviously, the Packers defense did not play well at all and has not been playing well. But I'm thinking another big game for Baker Mayfield and possibly some more receiving yards for Rachaad White. He had 50 receiving yards last week. Next up, you have one of the games of the week. You have the Miami Dolphins taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys got absolutely smacked by the Buffalo Bills last week. And the Dolphins are one of those teams that it feels like they're a finesse team, and it feels like a team like Dallas can punch them in the mouth if they get the opportunity. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to bounce back from that devastating Bills loss, but I'm going to be cheering for the Dolphins, but don't be at all surprised if the Dolphins make this interesting, hopefully getting guys like Tyreek Hill back from injury. Next up, you have a game between two pretty bad teams. You have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Chicago Bears. The Cardinals can be frisky with guys like Kyler Murray. And then the Bears, I mean, they've been surprising as of the past few weeks, keeping close with some, even winning a few games. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one and Kyler Murray to get the dub. Next up, you have a game between another possible contender for the worst team in the league in the New England Patriots, taking on the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, again, in the playoff hunt, definitely with their hopes alive still. I'm going to go with the Broncos to take care of the Patriots. The Patriots just are not a good football team, and I think that the Broncos are not going to have too much trouble. Next up, on Christmas Day, you have the Chiefs-Raiders at noon here. The Raiders put up 63 on the Chargers, and the Chiefs, I just have a lot of questions with the Chiefs. I'm still going to pick the Chiefs to win here. I wouldn't be surprised if they won out here for the rest of the regular season, but I definitely have some big issues with the Chiefs team. Next up, you have a divisional matchup between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 0-3 in December this year, really rough patch for them. They just lost to the Seattle Seahawks recently here in the last week. Taking on a Giants team, again, really on and off with Tommy DeVito at the helm. He's been playing pretty well, but I'm going to go with the Eagles to get their first win of December and hopefully silence some of the people who have no faith in them, because I still think that they're a team that can go on a deep playoff run. Next up, I think you have the game of the week. You have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. I think these are the two best teams in the league. I think the 49ers are just a little bit better of a team. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm going to pick the 49ers, but honestly, this could be a Super Bowl preview here, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we had Baltimore, San Francisco, and Vegas in February. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and check out my channel for more videos. Merry Christmas.